Before the end of the year really gets here, I thought I'd better let you all know what I would like to read in 2024. What's up guys, and welcome back to the channel. You're with Chris, and today I'll be sharing with you everything I would like to read next year. Now this won't be a TBR, these will be merely reading opportunities, and I also go through some of what the new releases are that I'm looking forward to next year in my most anticipated books of 2024. This list won't include any of those, so this is just everything I wouldn't mind having a crack at next year, and there's a fair bit to go through. Alright, so look, recently I did mention that I wanted to read Shogun in January, and me being a mood reader, I've decided to push that back a little bit more, and I think I would like to read The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson. I think it's high time I get stuck into the Cosmere. There is so much excitement about it at the moment, and I'm just curious, and I would love to start with that one. I really want to immerse myself into the Cosmere. I know that Mistborn, which is a trilogy that is also on this list, and I might as well mention it now. I know that ideally you should be reading Mistborn first, but you know, I would just want to get my feet wet and dive right in, and I thought I'll read The Way of Kings first, then before I start Words of Radiance I might go back and just do the Mistborn trilogy and then work my way through in a proper Cosmere order. I may even go back and read Elantris and Warbreaker before I continue with the Stormlight Archive, but we'll see how that goes. But I think the first book I really want to get stuck into is The Way of Kings, so I'm looking forward to that. And Shogun will be done. It's just going to have to wait until Feb or something like that, but to be honest, the book does intimidate me just a little bit, and I might just wait until Mike over at Mike's Book Reviews reads it first and see what he thinks, because he's very influential in my reading, and I'll just see what he thinks before I take it on. Now obviously I'll talk about some trilogies first of all, and I've already touched upon Mistborn, which I plan on reading, and a couple of other ones I'd like to try is the Lycanius trilogy by James Islington, which is a series that actually has a time travel element in it, which I'm very curious about. Of course there's a Stormlight Archive, so I want to read all the Stormlight Archive books before December, because book 5 of the Stormlight Archive is due out, and I want to participate in that collective excitement of that book's release and be ready for it, so that when it's released and when I pre-order it, then I can dive straight in on day one along with everyone else. Okay, I do want to read the Mayfair Witches trilogy, so I think it's The Witching Hour, Toltos, and I forget the other name of the book, the name of the third book, but it's a trilogy I wouldn't mind having a crack at. I also want to have a go at the Inkheart trilogy by Cornelia Funke, which is a young adult trilogy. It just looks really interesting and very accessible as well, so really looking forward to that. I'd also like to read a few more Malazan Book of the Empire as well. I did manage to try Midnight Tides, which is book 5. I'm planning on hopefully having another crack at it, because I did do several other attempts before putting it down. Maybe I just weren't in the right frame of mind to pick it up again, but I would like to pick it up again next year along with the next 2 books as well. So, you know, reading 3 Malazan books next year is a reasonable goal, I reckon. Okay, now there are some series that I would like to continue with or start, and those are firstly the Roy Grace detective novels by Peter James. I've really enjoyed this series. I've read about 9 of the books, and I think I've got about 6 to go to be completely caught up, and I have really enjoyed them, and it's been over a year since I've read one, so I would really like to, you know, maybe read 1, 2 or 3 back to back, just so that I can get through the series a little bit more and hopefully finish it next year. I'd also like to read more of the John Milton series by Mark Dawson, because that is a really good series I've been enjoying as well, and have been very, very slack, but other things have come up and other books I've wanted to read have gotten in the way, and I would like to read a few more of those also, because I have really enjoyed that series. John Milton is such a great character that I have been missing out, and I have been missing those books, so I would like to make it a point to continue with more of those in 2024, and again maybe read 2 or 3 back to back, just so that I can get a little bit further through it. I'd also like to finish up Harry Potter. I've read the first 2 books for the first time, and I would like to finish that this year as well, or next year rather. That would be very good. I plan on reading a lot more Star Wars Expanded Universe books as well, so I've got a whole heap there that I've purchased in the later half of this year, and there's plenty of material there to choose from. I recently did try Red Harvest as my latest Star Wars EU read, but didn't do anything for me, unfortunately, so I've temporarily put it down. I will go back to that one, but I think a couple of titles I'm really looking forward to next would be the Mace Windu book, Shatterpoint. I would like to read Death Star. I would like to read Yoda, Dark Rendezvous, and maybe explore quite a few of the novels from the Clone Wars era as well. I do have some Republic Commando ones there that I would like to read. I wouldn't mind getting stuck into X-Wing as well. So we'll see how that goes, but yeah, definitely hoping to read more of the Star Wars EU, which would be good. Now, I'm saving these ones for Horror Mayhem. I'd also like to start reading John Saul again, who was a prolific horror writer in the 80s and the 90s, who is now retired. But things like, I recently purchased a copy of Nathaniel, which was a book that scared the shit out of me as a kid, and I haven't read John Saul in years, and I thought I wouldn't mind going back and revisiting some of his backlist. And I've also got another one there, his first book, Suffer the Children, as well, which will be good, and I'm thinking of saving those ones for Horror Mayhem, because I am participating in Horror Mayhem again in May of 2024. It's a fantastic reading project created by the Bookish Bryants, and I've had a good time, and this will be my 3rd one, which I'll be looking forward to. As to other titles I wouldn't mind reading in Horror Mayhem, might be Peter Straub. I wouldn't mind getting into him. I would like to read some Chuck Wendig as well, and a few others, but I've still got time to organise what I want to read for that project, so I'm really looking forward to that. I would like to finish the Lance Brody Supernatural series by Michael Robertson Jr. I've only got 3 more books to go, and again, for the sake of finishing the series, I may actually read 2 or 3 back to back as well. That's going to be a pattern next year, because in the past I've read 1 book of a series and I've moved on to something else, and it's been a long time until I go back to it. So I think next year is going to be a little bit different. If I decide to read a few more books in a series rather than read one every now and then, I'm going to go for 2 or 3 back to back, which will be a good strategy for it, I think. Okay, some authors I'd like to try next year for the first time would be ones like Simone St. James, who is a very prolific horror thriller writer in her own right, and she's got a new book coming out this next year as well, which I wouldn't mind getting stuck into. I'd like to read The Book of Accidents by Chuck Wendig. Haven't read him before, but I would like to try him. I want to try Dune by Frank Herbert as a bucket list read for 2024. I'd also like to read House of Leaves as well. That would be a very challenging book, and it is intimidating, but I'd like to come out of 2024 saying that, yep, I read that, and sharing my thoughts on that. And I'd like to read Butcher's Crossing as well, because that's meant to be very, very popular, and people have compared it to Lonesome Dove, although it's fairly a fair bit shorter than Lonesome Dove, but certainly something I would like to read next year. I plan on reading more manga I'm planning on reading a lot more Vinland Saga. I'm really enjoying that series at the moment. I'm going to finish the Kurosagi Corpse Delivery Service. I've got one more omnibus edition, number 6, to read, or number 5, sorry. And once I finish that one, I'll even move on to something like Attack on Titan, just to see how that goes. But I do plan on reading a lot more manga this year. I'd also like to read a few more classics. I've got no idea what they are at this point, but I would like to try some more of those. I would like to try some more Robert McCammon books. I wouldn't mind trying the Matthew Corbett series, or just a few of his other ones that I haven't gotten to yet, because it's been a long time since I have read a McCammon novel. And one of my favourite thriller writers that's come out of this year is Frida McFadden, who wrote The Housemaid and The Housemaid's Secret, which I'm reading right now, and I would like to read a lot more of her books as well. But you know, this is just a preliminary possibilities list. There are going to be other books that come up, I'm sure, with what I feel like reading, but just at this current snapshot in time at the end of 2023, this is what I'd like to read. So I've certainly got my work cut out for me next year, and there are a lot of books to go through. So it's going to be a very busy year of reading for me. So there you go, guys. Thank you very much for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe and share with me what your TBR looks like for 2024. What kind of books are you wanting to read? Have you got any bucket lists that you want to try, or any series you want to start or complete? Let me know, and let's compare notes. But until the next video, guys, happy reading.